Good morning and welcome to Deefer Diving's YouTube channel, where today I'm going to be having a look at the new dive computer from Garmin, the Descent Mk2. Roll VT. So Garmin have finally launched the Descent Mk2. Many people have been saying it's coming. Many people have been eagerly awaiting it. And I want to say thank you to one of our clients, Mark, who has been down here and lent me his Descent Mk2 for the last week to have a good play around with and to have a look at. And I'm just going to have to move the dog from behind me, who's found a stick. No, it's not a stick. It's half a tree. Hang on a second. Comex, what's that tree? Back in a minute. So where was I? Yes, so thank you for Mark, who has lent me his Garmin Descent Mk2 for the last week to have a good look at and to have a few dives with and to now give you my opinion. Now, I'm a massive fan of the Garmin Descent Mk1. I've done a video which I will link to up here, and why I think it was the best dive computer available on the market in a watch style. However, the Mk2 has now come out, and I think that it has reset the game sufficiently that it's worth having a good look at. Now, the model I managed to get my hands on was the base model. It was the Mk2, not the I version. And I'll talk about the I version a little bit later for those that are interested in the difference between the two models. The Mk1 is based on the Fenix 5 sports smartwatch and is an excellent product. The Mk2 is based on the newer Fenix 6 architecture and design, which again is a really good product. So let's talk specifically about the Mk2. And I'm going to compare it to the Mk1 because I'm intimately familiar with the Mk1, having dived with one of these for 2.5 years. So the Mk2 is a good step up from the Mk1, and here's some of the reasons why. So a criticism of the Mk1 was that for a 51mm watch, it actually had a very small display. And I'll agree with that. There was a very thick bezel around the display, and it meant that it was quite small and sometimes quite challenging to see. Certainly not as good as the Shearwater Teric's display. However, on the Mk2, the display is almost 40% bigger at 290 square pixels, and it's a lot clearer, sharper, better display, and I would say that now it's easily as good, if not better, than the display on the Shearwater Teric, but it's eons ahead of the display on the Mk1. So the dive specific features on the Dive 1 and the same on the Dive 2 is that it contains the Bullman ZXL 16C dive algorithm with gradient factor, and about every single dive mode you could possibly want out there, including CCR, fixed set point. So it's a very fully featured dive computer. Device does have 5 buttons on it, so navigation takes a little bit of getting used to, and it's not as intuitive as I would perhaps like. Not as bad as an Oceanic, but not as easy as a Sunto or a Shearwater. But once you get used to it, if you've never used the Shearwater Teric or if you've never used the Sunto D6, then you learn the display and you learn the navigation, and it becomes fairly easy. One of the features that I really appreciate both on the Mk1 and the Mk2 is the double tap on the screen. So when you're diving, there are 3 displays of information. One is your basic dive data, the second one is your compass with some dive data, and the third is just a reconfigure of the dive data, including your safety stop, etc., etc. Now, you can jump between those displays just by pressing a button, fine, or you can double tap on the screen and it will change. And that's a nice feature, particularly if you're wearing gloves, as we always are when we're here in the Caribbean. But it's a feature that I really like. Of course, the Mk2, as well with the Mk1, has Bluetooth integration, and it can connect to your smartphone. You can download all of your data, your dive data, into the logbook, and Garmin's new dive log app is really good. Another feature that I love on the Mk1 and the Mk2 is GPS, and I use it a lot more than I thought I would do. No, GPS doesn't work underwater, and I don't get turn-by-turn instructions as I'm diving along a dive site. of course. What I do get though is entry and exit points, which may not sound that great, but when it comes to logging my dives, being able to see exactly where I was diving all over the world is really nice. But most importantly, when I find a feature, something I like, I'm able to surface at that point, log the location, and know that I've always got that location logged, which was great when we had to re-find a wreck recently. So with its larger, clearer display, the multi-dive mode, the tap screen, the GPS, wow, this is a compelling dive computer, isn't it? So what else? The Fenix 6, from which the Mark II is derived from, is a fully featured smart sports watch. So what else can it do? Well, it's a good watch, but you can also hook it up to your phone, and like a smartwatch, you can have your alerts and alarms displayed on your device, on your watch. You can control your music. So if you've got your smartphone connected to your Bluetooth headset, you can control your music from your device, from your dive computer, without having to reach for your phone. It's quite handy. You can see the track you're playing on your watch. It also has a heart rate monitor and a blood oxygen monitor, which means that as long as it's close to your skin, you can monitor your heart rate and you can monitor your blood oxygen levels. Now, this is great if you're involved in other sports, running, cycling, orienteering, canoeing, whatever it might be that you're involved in, because it has the ability to track and map exactly what you're doing. But that's not all. You're a skier. You can load up almost all the ski resorts and ski runs in North America and Europe. You're a golfer. It's got 40,000 golf courses logged, and you can track exactly your position on the golf course and know exactly the distance to the center of the green. So it has a whole lot of extra features that are excellent. In the Mark II, 32 gigabytes of memory. You can actually load music directly into your watch, connect your Bluetooth headset to your watch and bypass your phone completely. Again, useful if you're running or cycling and don't want to carry your mobile phone with you. And the great news is, the Mark II has all those features from the Fenix 6 because it is based on the Fenix 6 with the dive algorithm added in. What about the I? Well, the I stands for air integration. And that was one of the major criticisms that a lot of people had about the old Mark I. You couldn't get AI. And for them, that was a deal breaker. I can't get AI, I'm not buying it. Now, I'm not a fan of AI. I'm not. And in my previous video, I talk about why. I think it's a gimmick, an expensive gimmick, and it's another point of failure. But anyway, I'm not going to go into that right now. For the Mark II, they have launched an I model, and they do have air integration, but with a difference. Garmin has been using sonar technology for connectivity of devices in their marine environment for a fair few years now, and they've managed to miniaturize it and put it into their pod and their dive computer. With their sonar technology, it means that underwater you can connect up to 10 devices, 10 pods to a single dive computer and have a range of up to 8 meters. I'm sure that's in perfect conditions, and I haven't been able to test it because we didn't have the I model or the pod here. But it means that you can have your entire dive group with a pod connected to my dive computer, and I can see what their air levels are and what their time remaining is on my display here without having to go within a meter of all of them. Sounds like quite a good idea. I'm not a fan. Anyway, downside of that, though, the actual Mark II I computer is $200 more expensive than the base model, and each pod is another $400. So the costs can start racking up quite quickly. And I don't know about you, but for me, if I'm thinking of $600 extra to stop me from looking at my display on my gauges to see how much air I've got and go, I need to go shallower, I'd personally rather spend that money on another dive trip or another piece of equipment that I will get more value out of. That's my own personal thing. But if we roll that forward to, I don't know, you're diving with a group of 6 people and each of those have a pod connected to your dive computer, that's $2,500 instead of going, I don't know. I just prefer more value for money, and I think it's fixing a problem that doesn't need to be fixed is okay. So, a little bit about Garmin. So for those that don't know Garmin, they're big. Possibly the biggest organization in navionics, both marine and aviation-based navionics. They provide the majority of the GPS-based systems and the computers that are used on boats for guiding, for autopiloting, for aeroplanes, for all that sort of stuff. They're massive. They're also really big in personal fitness devices, so smart fitness watches and the like. And so they're class-leading, excellent products. Now, they are also at the top end of the pricing spectrum in pretty much every single product spectrum that they're in, and they're known for being at the top end of their pricing spectrum. One of the advantages that Garmin have over any other dive computer manufacturer is scalability. They're a big company. So the price. The base model, currently $1,299. Let's say $1,300 for friends. And the Mark II-i, $1,500. It's starting to hurt a little bit. Particularly then, if you buy the Mark II-i, you want to buy a pod, and they're an extra $400. So $1,900 for a Garmin Descent Mark II-i and the pod. I could buy a decent laptop and a cheaper dive computer and still be happy with that. That's a lot of money. That said, I would go on record right now and saying it is without doubt the best watch-style dive computer on the market. That's right. The Mark II-i is without doubt the best dive computer on there. There isn't a feature that you would want on a wristwatch-style dive computer or smartwatch that this thing doesn't have. So if you're in the market for a premium smartwatch style dive computer that will do everything that you could possibly want it to do right now, including play games, you've got to look at the Mark II-i. Would I upgrade my Mark I to the Mark II-i? No, I don't value AI. I really don't. And so therefore I would not pay that premium personally to be able to get the Mark II-i. Now there's a lot of people who would, and I respect their decisions and I respect why they would want to do it. But for me personally, I don't see that value. Would I upgrade from the Mark I to the Mark II? Oh, I want to. I do want to. But I'm going to say no. The display is better, without a doubt. The memory that it's got is better. The extra features that it's got are better. But can I justify that price as an upgrade from a Mark I to a Mark II? If the environment wasn't as it is right now, if COVID wasn't around and we had so much uncertainty, I probably would go, yeah, let's do it. But in these uncertain times, and this is the problem that Garmin is going to face right now, is launching a product in this marketplace. There's a lot of people who are going to take that decision of, you know what, I might leave it till next year. And so fundamentally, that's the view that I've got right now, which is that, OMG, this is a great device. Yes, I would love to upgrade to it, but I'm probably going to do the sensible thing and hold off till next year. Thanks for watching this video, and if you've enjoyed it, hit the thumbs up and show your appreciation for it. If you would like to leave any comments below, please do. I'd love to get your feedback on either your experiences with the Mark II-i, your thoughts on its capabilities and its price, and let me know whether it's something that you would consider investing in right here, right now, in this current environment. Also, hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content from our channel, and hit the bell icon if you'd like to be notified of more content as it becomes available. Without further ado, stay safe and keep diving.